Welcome to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast, where we interview the biggest and most successful real estate entrepreneurs, investors, and capital raisers in the world to provide you with the tool sets, the mindsets, and the skill sets to help you conquer yourself, your life, your marriage, and use real estate as your wealth creation vehicle so that you can live a more successful, happy, and fulfilled life of growth and contribution. If what you're after is having it all, if what you desire is becoming the best version you can be across all areas, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, sentimentally, and financially, you've come to the right place. We will bring to you the best of the best real estate entrepreneurs who will give you the insights, knowledge, experience, and skills so that you can go out and crush it financially and across all areas of your life. Grab pencil and paper, sit back, enjoy, and you are welcome to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast. As always, I have an incredible guest with me today that I'm super excited to get to learn from, connect with, and talk to. But before I introduce this modern king to you, though, I just want to ask all of you watching or listening for a favor. I want to ask you that if you get something out of this interview, if you get some type of value, if you get an insight, if you learn a new skill, if you get some motivation or some inspiration to go out and take some action, implement some of the things that you're going to learn here, and keep on moving forward towards your goals, I want to ask you to please share this episode with some of your friends. Send it to someone you know this might impact. Send it to someone you know that who might be interested in real estate. Share this episode. Share it on your Facebook wall, on your stories. Share it and help us help other people. And to all of you who do take action and share, I send you a big hug from the bottom of my heart and I say thank you. And today I have Kenny Simpson. He's an entrepreneur. He's been an entrepreneur for a long time. He, like me, right? Like you can see the chair. It's because I'm into branding. He's also into branding. He's in real estate investing along with his wife, and he's a husband, father, entrepreneur. Super excited to get to talk to this modern king. And Kenny, thank you very much for being here, man. I really appreciate you. Appreciate your time, and you're welcome to the show.
Alex, thanks for having me on, and congrats on what you got going on, all your success. Super excited.
All right. So, Kenny, the first thing that I do with my guests, man, is I ask them to walk us through their real estate investing journey in 75 seconds or less.
Well, 75 seconds. Let's go. So basically, I've been in the mortgage business for 20 years. And in 2012, we really started investing and basically flipped one house. And fast forward to today, you know, we've owned over $20 million of real estate by ourselves, no money, no anybody else. And then we are actively partners in about 500 or so other units here in California and in parts of other places in the United States. But that's been the real estate journey in a quick 75 seconds.
Yeah, that was short and that was great. So you went through the cycle, right? Through the last like fall down of the
Oh yeah.
of the market. So how did that go, man? Because I'm pretty young, so I don't know anything about cycles. I actually just had an interview with another guy who told me, "No, you're too young to know this." But and I'm like, "Yeah, I am." But how was it, man? Like, how was the? Because we're experiencing something similar today, right? Like right now, currently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I'm a big data guy. I wasn't back in the day because we didn't have access to, you know, all the stuff on YouTube, and it wasn't available, right? All the stuff on the internet was not available like it is today. So basically 2008, I was in the mortgage business, so probably the worst business to be in. But if you go back and look, look, we made a lot of bad loans. There was a financial crisis. If you were watching data and you could just read it like I do today, you would have known that there was a crash coming. You could have predicted it very easily, like a lot of people did that shorted the market or sold all their properties or knew because they just understood data and watched it. So as I got away from that, I really studied the data. So, 2008, it really, if there is some type of thing going on in, housing right now, it's really different for a lot of different reasons. Housing is just in a completely different place now from inventory and not overbuilding, and the type of quality of bar we're just getting for a 1 to 4 unit is not the same. And so that is different. But, as far as commercial today, Obviously there's commercials kind of getting a bad rap right now. Maybe, office, retail, I know multifamily, but a lot of people in the last 4 or 5 years, they bought and they probably over leveraged. They got bridge loans, they got floating debt, and nobody knew that the government was going to raise rates 500 basis points in basically a year. And so a lot of people right now are trapped. They might not be able to refi. They can't raise additional capital, and so they're feeling pain somewhat to like a 2008. But 2008 was such a different, bigger animal. It's almost like the rug got ripped out from under you, and you
Hmm.
couldn't find your footing for a while. And so that's kind of how it felt. You felt like you're just always like, I'm not landing. And finally we were able to land in our business and figure out what we can do and then just get to work. But it was definitely hard to see people that were big in real estate lose everything. And so you saw people that, you could interview on the show that have done really, really well. And maybe they just went a little too big and the market just pulled the rug out and they lost everything. And I saw a lot of people do that. And, people go bankruptcy, foreclosure, short sale, all that. So it's just a different time right now, but it doesn't mean that, we're not going to go through a difficult time, whether it's a recession or commercial or whatever. But it was definitely an interesting time. And I will tell you, it kind of scars you like a bullet wound. And
Hmm.
you definitely will learn a lot of lessons. And I think even everybody that's in real estate is a little bit scarred and a little bit jaded from that, and they're a little bit more cautious, even builders. So it was a big learning lesson for all of us of what could happen if we really don't do things right, like make good loans and pay attention and just kind of like let things go wild. And that's kind of what ends up happening. It just, kind of went up and just went right back down.
Yeah. And so now that you're like educating yourself, you didn't back then, but now that you're educating, so what is your take on what is currently happening right now, man?
Yeah, so let's just talk about housing, like, housing. So the crisis in housing is inventory. We just don't have
Okay.
any inventory, right? So let's go through that quickly. So we used to kind of say, hey, everybody moves or refis every 5 to 7 years, and that's old. Today, people are actually staying in their houses 13 plus years, and as we get more data out in the next couple of years, it's probably going to go 15 years. So if you think about it,
Hello, modern kings and queens. At my company, Millionaire Network Automation, we believe in the power of networking. We believe that in real estate, your net worth is your network. This is why we help real estate investors raise capital by connecting them with their ideal investors and helping them build a massive network of their ideal investors in less than 30 days and with only 4 hours of work per week. If you're interested in this, click the link below in the description of this podcast to learn how you can propel your growth with a reliable system that will consistently help you connect with your ideal investors, build trust, add value, get your investors to promote you and put you in front of more of their investor friends, and raise more capital faster and in a much more effortless way so that you can achieve your financial freedom and still have the time and the energy to pour into every single other area of your life. So go watch the training, and you're going to have the opportunity to book a call to talk about how you can get this 100% done for you system implemented in the next 5 days. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later, and enjoy the rest of this episode. Bye-bye.
people are staying longer in their house. We just went through this thing, if you ever heard of it, COVID pandemic, right? Which
Yeah.
kind of changed and jaded people. So a lot of people are locked in. The average interest rate across all the homes is 3.78. So there's not much motivation to move. And if they do move, they're probably paying higher price, higher tax, the whole thing. So that's not really helping get inventory, right? And then plus people remodeled their backyard, their kitchen, their bathrooms during COVID. And they're kind of like, hey, I've got a brand new house. I'm cool here for 30 years. People are living longer. So grandma, grandpas, all that stuff, they're not moving. They're living longer. But when you get past 60, at your age, you might move 10 times over the next, 20 years. But when you're 60 and beyond, you might move 1, 2 times. That's it. Those houses are not going. And even if somebody dies and inherits the house, a lot of people I know, they're just keeping them and turning them to rentals, and they're not going back on the market to sell. And so if you take the financial, when we were during the, crisis crash last time, we built from 2000 to 2009, we built about 14 and a half million homes. Prior to that, the decades before, if you went from the 90s, 80s, and 70s, we built about 12 and a half million homes. So coming out of 2000, the meltdown from 2010 to 2019, we only built 6.9 million homes. So when you hear, hey, we're short homes, we really are. In places like I live in San Diego, it's so hard to build here because of the regulation and the red tape and then, the BS basically. It's hard. So the way I look at, says there's 5 minutes left in our meeting.
You're good. No,
Okay,
like,
cool.
it's like the schedule, right? Depending on
Okay,
the
cool.
schedule.
Sorry. And so basically, what's happening now is that interest rates went up. So when we hit rates about 7.5%, buyer demand goes down. So that's what you saw fourth quarter of 2022. You saw buyer demand go down because interest rates were not good. And then interest rates came back lower. So you went from a declining market. Now the market's becoming more stable. And I'm talking more, I'm not talking 5 million plus. I'm talking more, first time home buyer, just a more normal buyer. You're
Mm-hmm.
going from stable and actually the market's starting to increase again because we have no inventory. Rates are off the highs of a point and a half, and buyers are starting to buy again. So we don't have the inventory. And look, in San Diego or anywhere, usually the inventory starts low and starts going high during spring and summer, right? Well, this year we started with over 3,000 homes. And as I talk to you guys here today, and shoot this in April, it's basically we're at 2,300 homes, and that's for the whole San Diego. So we have a massive housing shortage. I don't know how you're going to get the supply. And so this is causing problems because if rates are continue to drop with inflation, which they will, you're going to have more of this craze. People come off the sidelines, and you're going to have that $600,000 house you're looking at is going to go to 650 and 700 again, just because there's not enough supply and there's going to be a lot of buyers when those rates dip. So what's really going on is that's kind of the crisis, and housing is a shortage. And, multifamily, commercial, it's very simple. The debt market is dead, as you probably know. Interest rates stink. Nobody can figure out what a building's worth because sellers don't have to sell, right? The cap rate. So there's just it's like there's just like this balance where nobody knows. So if rates don't come down and this $1.5 trillion of refis and stuff in the next year and a half comes due, you'll start seeing people fire sell, give properties back to the banks. You're already seeing it now. There's an article that came out. A guy gave $3,200 units back to the bank, to Fannie and Freddie this last week. It was a kind of a national article because he had floating debt, couldn't make the payments, couldn't raise capital, and he just said you can have it back, and they all lost, investors and him. So it's
Damn.
it's two different markets, so you cannot compare the two. And this SVB banking crisis, even though it's kind of isolated, that spooked the market, spooked the banks. So that banks were already cautious. That just made them more cautious. So we're kind of having a credit crunch when it comes to the banks and the commercial financing. And then with 1 to 4 units, you have Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA. That always keeps the wheel going, and that really is not affected by the banking crisis. And those because the government buys the loans and they always have money.
Damn. That was a lot. But yeah, man. That
Yeah,
was
sorry.
that was
Yeah, I try to
that
sum it up
was
the best I could.
no, like like it's a lot to take in, but you did it amazingly. That's what I'm trying to say. But so man, so what is it? So in the midst of all of this that is happening, what is it that you're focusing on? Like, what is your thing? Are you doing? Are you working as a mortgage broker, or or are you investing into real estate?
Yeah, so we always invest. We try to, our goal is to buy a building a year. We do that to build wealth, for cash flow, for cost seg tax strategy, right? We have there's a whole plan at this point in time. But also there is always buying property. Yes, it's hard to find deals, but yeah, I'm really hyper focused on, especially we did a lot. We used to, backing up a little bit. We went from, doing loans to still always doing loans, always doing well, to we started a property management business that turned into 1,500 units. We sold that, but during that management, we help people build portfolios. We turned 2,000 units, rehabbed in and out 600 units, 20, 30 buildings inside out. We're talking bigger buildings. And so we learned that game, and we sold the company, and we got into content like we are doing here, and basically teaching what we know. I was in Gary Vee's office when I got into this game. He said, just go back home and give it all away. So everything I know in real estate, I try to share, whether it's on YouTube or podcast or content or emails. So we give a lot of information away. So we're working on our content game, building our brand so we can get in front of more people and help them just like you are. And
Mm-hmm.
then so we're doing the mortgage broker thing always. That's like our bread and butter. And we are we're always doing real estate deals. We might pivot from multifamily, depends. The big kind of game in San Diego that's really working in California is people are buying properties and adding ADUs, accessory and dwelling units. That's the big game here. So the local government loves it because we need housing. And the one quick way to do it is convert a garage, convert an illegal unit, or build stuff in the backyard where it's a little bit easier to get through the red tape and all that, because they basically make the plans and permitting process a little bit easier if you're going to build normal. And so we're just focused on kind of what's winning in the space, and that's what we do now. And then Crystal, just something out there, she's getting ready to launch pretty soon here a coaching program. So we're going to launch a coaching program of investing in real estate from all of our background, from loans, from doing our own deals, and the management. So we kind of just that's it. So every day I'm helping clients and customers just buy real estate, whether it's a home or investment property, and Crystal does the commercial. So it's every day we're working on a deal or this or that. So always busy in the real estate game.
So, what company did you sell? You mentioned that right now.
Yeah, so we sold Pacific Shore Management to a tech startup called Mind, MYND. You can look them up. They started a property management company, and they have actually publicly, they just raised 5 billion. So they're going to go buy about 20,000 homes, and they're going to use their proprietary software and management. And so they're just kind of becoming this bigger company. So we were their first acquisition. And they're really focusing on the single family market now. That's what they're going to manage. They've got, I think, maybe 15,000 units, and then they're going to buy a bunch. But that CEO was an ex NFL kicker. And when he retired, he kind of came out. And that's when, after the kind of the last meltdown, the great, recession, he came out and was going to buy 1,000 homes, bought 17,000 homes, and ran that really well. Got the attention of a bunch of guys on Wall Street. One of them was Starwood Capital, Barry Sternlicht. He bought that portfolio for about 3 billion. They took an exit. Obviously, they had debt. They had partners in this. They did really well. And after that, they decided they want to get back in the property management space, which I thought was a little bit crazy. It's a tough
Mm-hmm.
business, but they
Yeah.
ultimately, I think, landed back into the single family. And I think they're building that portfolio. So they're basically building a well-oiled machine. If somebody wants to come in and buy a whole portfolio, they've got the whole stack of management software, this. And so they could sell you a nice 20,000 plus probably portfolio in the future, some Wall Street firm that just wants to take it over and just, pay cash and, get the cash flow and all that stuff.
So a property management company. That's the company that you sold.
Yeah.
So you sold it, and then wait, you were like you didn't have anything to do, or
No, always. We still did loans. So we actually worked a lot. So we had our mortgage business, we were full-time real estate investors, and we did the property management. So we were working 80, 100-hour weeks for many, many years, which got really tired, and we wanted to have a family. And so we just said we cannot be good parents, be involved, be there. If we're doing this, it's too much. So when we were it was kind of perfect timing. We were kind of having these conversations, and we got approached through a couple friends and had a conversation that led to striking a deal, and then eventually winding out of that business.
so man. So you worked 80, 100 hours a week, and but then you wanted to have a family. So how did that change? So has that changed now?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. So when we sat down, we want to have kids. That's why we waited to have kids. We wanted to build a real estate portfolio. We wanted to get ahead. We wanted to have money, and that was just a decision we made. Not for everybody, but that was our decision. So we waited a little bit later in life, and when we had kids, yeah, we obviously we have help. We have a nanny and stuff, but we're not going to work 80, 100-hour weeks. We want to be there for our kids,
Of course.
and we want to be good parents. And so, yeah, we're home by 5 o'clock, 98% of the nights. We're not really working weekends anymore. We take days off, we travel. So yeah, I mean, we work hard. I mean, I get up at 3 a.m. So a lot of people don't get up at 3 a.m. So I have my time in the morning. And so that's just what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So So what is the like your number one? I know you got like multiple focuses, but like what is like the main thing that you're focusing on? Are you working on some deals? What is it that you're doing right now, man?
So right now, like literally the main focus right now, my probably my business is I don't really have to put like crazy time in my mortgage business. I have a team, I built a team, but right now it's really focusing on working with technology to automate things so I can scale things. So like I have a whole marketing team. I have my mortgage team. And so I'm really focusing on that right now and utilizing, making a lot of moves, utilizing technology and stuff like that, really building the brand because our next thing will really be launching the course and going down that avenue. And really my big focus right now since I've been around masterminds and all these crazy entrepreneurs and guys in real estate, the one couple things I learned is even though they buy real estate and stuff, they also
Mm-hmm.
make money doing other things. They make
For
a
sure.
ton of money selling courses or,
Yeah.
raising money or whatever. So I realized that I want to make more money, a lot more money per year. So I have to do different things and I have to change my mindset and how I, delegate and focus and scale. And that's the focus now. And so I can make more money, not so I can buy fancy shit, excuse my French, so I can buy more real estate. We could go raise money in that. That could be a possibility. But right now we love to buy our own stuff, self-capitalize. So I just want to make many more millions a year. And
For
so I can
sure.
buy per property faster. And that's really and the way I'm going to get there is you got to focus, you got to scale, you got to delegate, you got to get good people under you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really the focus right now.
Awesome, man. So then, yeah, that great. That's great, right? Like that makes sense. I'm also part of masterminds, and a lot of entrepreneurs that I know make a lot of money with their businesses, and then use that money to build wealth, right?
Exactly.
Which is like money that is gonna last forever because it's not going anywhere, right? Like the real estate is always going to be generating cash flow, and it's not going to go anywhere. Um, and that's great. So you're planning on doing that with your course, with the course that's coming out.
That'll be another, I think. So I'm around a lot of people that have launched courses that make a lot of money. Some 5 million, 10 million plus a year gross. They're good margins. And so that would be my thing is build this machine. That's another cash flow.
Thank you for listening to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast. We want you to know that we love and appreciate you, and we're super grateful about being part of your journey of becoming a successful real estate entrepreneur and having it all. Please share this episode with a friend who you think will be impacted positively. Send it to someone who you know is interested in real estate and dreams of having it all and being the best they can be across all areas. And if you thought this episode was really valuable, share it on your social media as a post or a story. We have a special gift for all of those who contribute to the Modern Kings and Queens movement. So for those of you who decided to share this episode and help us spread our message, send me a message letting me know on any social media platform at Alex Ramirez, the Modern King. I have a special surprise for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.